Welcome to the Straight Red Card, and Brett and I today we are taking on the big MLS All-Star game, where the MLS ended up on top, 3-2. Didn't look like it was going to end that way earlier in the game, but they managed to make it happen. And one of the things that, and there are a number of things we're going to talk about here, but one of the things that certainly stood out was some of the players. I mean, overall, Brad, everybody played pretty damn well. But
I certainly didn't see Chelsea dominating any portion of the field.
No. I mean, all our guys came to play. This wasn't like last year. Not that they didn't come to play. It's just
let's be fair. Chelsea played a bit of a different game in comparison to what Man U's done over the past 2 years. Man U's very, they pressured, and MLS ended up buckling. Whereas, Chelsea only sent, a couple people forward into the box, and they played, especially towards the end of the game, they really started playing to our strength by trying to cross it in there, and Demerit kept, heading and kicking them out.
Yeah.
It was a different team altogether. I think the MLS teams showed up every year to play the All-Star game. I just think that Chelsea's style really just fit our All-Star team a little bit better this year.
Well, to me, yeah, okay, it was partially style. I'll give you that. I just think that this team, for whatever reason, functioned better together.
Oh, yeah. They played very well, I thought.
I mean, it's like they really took practice serious. I don't know what they did differently, but, even when we weren't moving the ball upfield in the first half and making much happen at the beginning, we were at least, all the passes were connecting until, they didn't. But there were a lot of connecting passes that you just didn't see versus Man U, and nor the year before that in the MLS All-Star game either. So I think it said something about the quality of the players. I think the league's getting better. I think the players are getting better.
Like I said, I thought there was a lot less pressure on the ball. MLS, the All-Stars had a lot more time to possess it. They had a lot more time to pick up their head and find their other players. I thought a lot of the possession was for possession's sake, which I'm fine with. I'm glad that we maintained possession. We had a lot of one-touch passes. I mean, it looked good. It just seemed that Chelsea players were a little less interested. You can go ahead and play that ball over there. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do is we're going to push you off to the side into the box and you in. Because what happened is we did that. That's what happened. We made all these nice little passes back and forth. All of a sudden, we found that Chelsea has pushed us into a corner or pushed us off to the side, and all of a sudden our back line or our midfielders are belting it forward, trying to make a 40-yard cross field to where a player was making a run down the line.
Yeah.
It's possession for possession's sake, and I make this argument with the U.S. national team too. Possession for possession's sake is great if you're holding on to a lead. If you're really trying to play the game, you got to have some forward momentum. You got to have some, take some chances, and we did see that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that was the entire game because MLS All-Stars did well playing it forward. They took their chances when they could get them, and it worked out for us in the end.
Yeah, in particular, there were some great individual performances, but they all worked together rather well. I mean, one of the standout guys I thought was Beitshour. And, of course, he has the opportunity, I guess. I know Iran has been knocking at his door. His parents are Iranian Americans. And I think, everybody played pretty well. Henry's pass was great. The Beckham pass that led to the goal was great. Wondolowski finished. Even EJ finished. And then, but I thought for me, the guys that were at least the most surprising were Beitshour and Morrow, the left back and right back guys. I thought they did a great job, and really, if you can stop Marin, and they didn't stop him completely, but if you can stop him from
most part,
yeah, I mean the guy is amazing. That guy's a great player, and if you can kind of shut him down to at least an acceptable point, and I think that's what we did. I mean, you got to give props to a guy like Beitshour for doing that. At least the full first half. Marin did have one, or two opportunities, but nothing that led to a goal.
And that was most surprising part about the All-Stars, in my opinion. It was the back line. Because if you came to me at the beginning of the season and say, hey, who's going to be on our All-Star back line? I never would have predicted that back line.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. I mean, it was surprising.
And, and I, as far as players that stood out, I can't argue with the MVP of the game. They picked Pontius. I have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, he came out. He was a breath of fresh air. He attacked. He created opportunities.
Yeah, well, he
even got a goal for it.
He should have been.
He should have gotten an assist from EJ.
Yeah.
But I don't know what EJ was doing whenever Pontius made that nice 40, 50-yard run, connect with Dayro.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, EJ had a couple of those moments. I'll go with I'll go with Pontius as a player of the game, obviously, but I think there were just so many other outstanding guys out there. Demerit was rock solid the whole game long, and then even Alonso played just as you would expect him to, hard as nails. He was right there in front of the back four, doing what he had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, impressive. I mean, I was impressed. I was ready not to be impressed. I was ready for another 5-0, 4-0. 4-1 slaughter, and maybe that's just because of what's happened the last couple of years.
Yeah, Chelsea's rebuilding. They're adding new players. I don't think they were quite the same team as the Man U has been the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So, in all honesty, last time Chelsea came down here, we beat them 1-0. So Right now, Chelsea's on a 0-2 record in the United States against MLS All-Stars.
Yeah, and Chelsea just hasn't looked good this whole trip so far. They played PSG as well. They didn't look very good against them either. So
beat Seattle 4-2.
Yep, but even that game was close for a little while.
Two own goals as well. So
yeah, even that game was close. I just don't think Chelsea's looked that great. They're going to have to do a lot more. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was
it's preseason.
It is preseason for them. Yeah. You'd think they start figuring things out just about now, if not earlier. I don't know.
I think their coach had mentioned the thing that he wants to take away from this tour in the United States is fitness. Let's get our boys back into match day fitness.
Yeah.
Before the season starts. Not necessarily let's work on our chemistry because I guess he feels that it's already there. They just they need to get back into 90-minute fitness.
Yeah. Well, then Alexi Lalas, of course, after the game said this win sends a message to the world, maybe a message to Europe. In specific, I think that's what we're always talking about, that this league is a lot better than you think it is. I don't know, Brad. I'm not sure that they're listening, so I don't.
I don't know what message was sent. I think, as you pointed out, the Met League is getting better, but again, let's not blow us out of proportion. I mean, Chelsea's a solid team. There's a lot of stars there, but they are in preseason form.
Yep.
And in all honesty, it's a preseason game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to take it as hard as if you were playing a Champions League game or even just a regular season Premier game.
Right.
Not going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Our players look good. Don't get me wrong. And, we might start getting a little more credit as far as, our players being scouted, saying, hey, these people abroad in Europe might be saying, hey, you know what? That kid over there is not that bad.
Yeah, that Beitshour kid. Yeah, exactly. He's not so bad. I mean, these guys are a lot better. Morrow, he wasn't so bad. They did pretty good out there. But you're right. And the reason I think they're not listening yet, and the reason they'll blow this off as a preseason game for Chelsea, and Chelsea's just not fit and in form. I mean, you listen to guys like Peter Shelton. I don't think that Europe gets it. And a great example is Peter Shelton's comment about why Beckham didn't make the British Olympic team. Basically, he said because he plays in some weak-ass league. That's why he didn't make the team. And I don't think that's going to change that opinion, that general opinion that a lot of people... And then he went on to say he hadn't even watched any MLS. He just assumed, of course, it was a crappy league. So a lot of people over there are going to continue to assume that, and they're going to say, well, if a league's all-star team can't beat Chelsea... then they've got then their league must really suck. So, no, I don't think that this changed anybody's opinion, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. The only ways that's going to happen, in my opinion, is for one of our teams to make it to and this isn't even that big of a deal to a lot of people, to make it to the Club World Cup and perform and play out there and really stun some people. At least make it there. You know what I mean? Make it there.
You said it yourself. A lot of people don't even take the Club World Cup serious by any means. The teams do, but fans really don't.
No, most fans don't.
Fans will take their league serious. They'll take the interleague serious and the Champions League in Europa. But as far as any extracurricular, tournaments are concerned, like Club World Cup or these World Cup champions here in the United States or whatever during the preseason. They're not going to take them serious. MLS teams can consistently win if they want, and it's nice to see it. Great exposure for our players around the world, even the league. I'm sure it does improve ever so slightly that, hey, maybe this league's not that terrible, but they're still a bad league, and eventually it'll get better. But
the only way that's going to really change, Brett, is if there are more and more and more former MLS players playing abroad in leagues all over Europe,
doing well.
Exactly, and standing out. That's when people.
More Dempsey's, more Bradleys.
More Dempsey's, more Bradleys. Right, more of that, and that's what'll change that opinion. Until then, no.
Yeah, I agree.
So sorry, Alexi. The other thing, well, Henri said, he was more proud of the way that the team played than the fact that they won. The fact that they kept the ball on the ground, they had a lot of possession. They played, like a team almost, and they're not a team. They're a bunch of players from different teams come together, and so I agree with Henri. That was impressive. And if you were abroad watching the game, maybe you did see something, or maybe there were a few fans who were won over and said this league must not be that bad. But even then, I don't think that's the case.
You bring up a good point. It's a hodgepodge team of talented players from around the league. As pros, they should be able to play together. However, it looked like they had chemistry. I mean, like I said beforehand, they're making a lot of 1-2 passes, moving into space. It's like as if they've worked together all year.
Yeah, it was.
But that's obviously not the case. But yeah, they played very well together. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was surprising, and it was good to see.